Breaking news! Today you're gonna finally understand 3D nodes in Fusion. Let's get right into it. So, we're gonna start by bringing a Fusion composition to the timeline. We can do that by clicking on Effects, then Effect again, and here it is. We're gonna drag and drop it in the timeline, like this, and we're gonna make it 10 seconds long. Now, let's head over straight to Fusion. So, let's get right into 3D nodes. But if you're new to Fusion, maybe you want to check out my other video about 2D nodes first. I'm going to leave a link to it in the description of this video. Okay, so 3D nodes, they work a little bit differently than regular nodes. First, let's connect a background node to our media out, so we can have a floor to our 3D composition. And if we close Inspector, here in the toolbar, you can see the basic 3D nodes. Here we've got an image plane 3D, 3D shapes, a 3D text node, a merge node, camera node, a light node, and a renderer 3D. You can also find these nodes by hitting Shift spacebar on the keyboard and looking for 3D. And today, I'm going to show you the basics of 3D nodes by making a simple orbiting 3D text. And it's actually a very simple thing to do. So let's begin. Let's bring a 3D text node into the node graph and drag it to our viewer 1, like this. And as you can see, I've opened up the 3D space, and you can move around with simple keyboard and mouse commands. If you scroll up and down your middle mouse wheel, you're going to move up and down. If you hold Command while scrolling your mouse wheel, you're going to zoom out and in. If you press and hold your mouse wheel, you can move left to right and up and down, like this. And if you hit Option or Alt on the keyboard and press and hold the mouse wheel, you can rotate in the universe, like this. So let's write our text. Let's bring back Inspector and write breaking news. But if we try to connect our text with our background, you'll see it won't work. And that's because 3D and 2D worlds are very different. So in order for us to connect both worlds, we'll need a renderer 3D node. And we can find it right here, or by hitting Shift spacebar on the keyboard and looking for renderer 3D. Let's add it to the node graph, and now we can connect it to our background, like this. And what this renderer does is it converts the 3D world back into 2D. But as you can see, our text still looks 2D, and that's because it only has 2 dimensions, height and width. If I rotate it like this, you'll see it has no depth. So how do we fix that? We click on our text, we come to Extrusion, and we increase the extrusion depth, like this. And boom, we have a 3D text. So if you want to keep it simple, just with these 2 nodes, you would be fine. But actually, our 3D text has no life yet. And that's because in real world, in a 3-dimensional space, we have lighting, and we don't have that here. So how do we enable that? We're going to click on our renderer 3D, and here under lighting, we're going to enable lighting and shadows. And now everything went dark. Let's make our background alpha, so we can see what we're doing. And as you can see, our text is black, and that's because we enabled lighting, but we don't have any lights yet. So how do we add lights? Let's make some room here, and we're going to hit Shift spacebar on the keyboard and add a merge 3D node, like this. Let's check if it's connected. And a merge 3D works pretty much like a multi-merge in the 2D world. You can connect as many nodes to it as you want. Now we're going to hit Shift spacebar again and look for light. And as you can see, we have many types of lights here, but for this effect, we're going to use the spotlight, which is this one right here. Let's add it and connect it to the merge node. And, well, nothing changed. And that's because in 3D space, everything we add to the merge node will appear in the center of the universe, right here. And the light is a little bit past the text, as you can see. So how do we manipulate objects in 3D space? You can do it 2 ways. You can either come to transform, and here you'll see the translation axis and the rotation axis. You can move them around, or you can play around with the gizmos. Right here, as you can see, we have 3 arrows, the one pointing up, this red one pointing sideways, and the Z offset, represented by this blue cone right here. And you can find it right here. And this gizmo represents the translation. So you can move it up and down, right or left, and in or back. And now it looks a lot more 3D, right? And in this gizmo, you can play around with the rotation. Left or right, up and down, and tilt left and tilt right. And here in controls, you can play around with the intensity. Let's bring it back a little. And you can change the color of the light. You can choose any color you want, but for now I'm going to keep it white. So let's make our text a little bit more interesting. Let's give it a red color, this. Now, so we can have a better handling of our 3D space, we're going to add a camera node. And you can do that by hitting Shift Spacebar again and looking for Camera 3D. Let's add it to the node graph. And I could connect it to this merge node, but I won't. And I'll tell you why later. So now I'm going to bring another merge node and connect it to this one, like this. And again, the camera fell right in the middle of the universe, so that's why the text disappeared. So let's bring it back. Like this. Let's bring our light back a little bit. And you can move around the light and the camera to the angle you prefer. I'm going to leave it like this for now. And you can manipulate the camera exactly the same way you can manipulate the lighting, transform, or with the gizmos. So now let's start making this more fun and bring an earth to our composition. So we're going to bring a shape 3D to the node graph and connect it to the merge one. And there it is in the center of the universe. By default, it comes as a plane shape. But here in controls, where it says shape, we can change it from plane to sphere. And here it is. Now we're going to envelop our sphere with a material. And how do we do that? We're going to hit Shift Spacebar and look for a Cook Torrance 3D node. This node will allow us to add a material to our sphere. So now we connect the output of our Cook Torrance node to this green input of our shape 3D, like this. Now I'm going to open the media pool and bring my Earth PNG. I'm going to bring it to the second viewer, and it's a simple PNG world map. You can download it at Google, but if you want, I'm also going to leave the link to this map in the description of this video. So let's connect the output of our PNG to this yellow input of the Cook Torrance node. And there it is, our Earth. So let's make a quick spin in our sphere to see if everything's alright. It's going to transform, rotate it. Okay, we have a problem here. Apparently our map is too small. So we're going to click on our media one and add a transform node and increase the size until it involves the whole sphere, like this. And there we go. Let's take another look. Perfect. Now let's set our text to orbit the Earth. Let's come to transform and bring it to the foreground, like this. Now we're going to come to layout and change the type from point to circle. And it became a mess, but we can fix that. Under rotation on the x-axis, we're going to change it from 0 to 90 degrees. Now we're going to come to transform, and under rotation on the x-axis, we're going to set it to -90. And on the layout, we're going to increase the width to 3, like this. And here in the second transform, we're going to bring it down a little on the y-axis under translation, like this. Perfect. Let's increase a little bit the intensity of the light, like this. Now we're going to come to the merge one, come to transform, and on the z-axis under rotation, we're going to tilt it a little bit, like this. And that's why I added the camera to a second merge node. If the camera was in this node, we would end up rotating it along with the other elements. So now, let's start the animation. So with our camera 3D selected, we're going to go to a point where we want the camera to be exactly here, let's say on frame 96 or second 4, and set a keyframe on all the axes, like this. Now we're going to go to the beginning of the animation. Let's go to the top view and move the camera around. Let's say right here, right here, and let's rotate it. -90 degrees. Let's bring it back a little. Right here. And as you can see, at this point it's pretty dark. So let's add another light right here. Hit Shift Spacebar, look for a spotlight, connect it to the merge node, like this. Bring it here. Let's rotate it. A lot better. Let's bring back our text a little bit, like this. And let's see how the camera goes. Cool. Let's say that from here, we want to make it another 3 seconds. Let's say frame 168 and bring it back a little more, like this. Let's take a look. Great. Now let's come to this middle point right here, open the spline, show only selected tool, check the Z offset, set zoom to fit. We're going to select this middle keyframe and hit F on the keyboard, also this last one, to smooth out the movement. Looking good. Now we're going to animate the text and the earth. Let's come to the beginning of the animation Let's close the spline, select our text, set a keyframe on the y-axis under rotation. Let's rotate it a little bit, like this. Let's come to the end of the animation, frame 96, and make it rotate back. Like this. Let's take a look. Okay, nice. And now the Earth. Let's go to the beginning of the animation. Select our Shape 3D. Set a keyframe on the y-axis under rotation. Come to the end of everything and make it rotate twice, or 720 degrees. So it's going to add up to 834.8. So at this point your playback might be a little choppy, so to fix that you can right-click here on the toolbar and uncheck High Quality and uncheck Motion Blur. Okay, looking good. If you think your shadows are too harsh, you can come to the spotlight, and here on Shadows, you can change the softness from none to constant. And change the constant softness by playing around with this slider right here. Let's do the same with our other light. Softness constant, like this. So one final adjustment, let's click on our text 3D, open the spline, set zoom to fit, uncheck extrusion profile, and check Y rotation, zoom to fit, and flatten this keyframe right here. Let's close the spline. So let's take a look at the final effect. And if you liked this video, make sure to subscribe to the channel, and if you want to learn more about DaVinci Resolve, check out this video showing on your screen right now, and I'll see you there.